The Mental Health Monday Project is brought to you by Medfield TV and Medfield Coalition for Suicide Prevention, a Medfield Foundation initiative, as administered by Medfield Youth Outreach to alleviate stress and promote mental health awareness.
Hey everyone, I'm Mike Paige from the Mike Paige Doodle Club, and I'm happy to contribute to the Mental Health Monday Project that Medfield TV is doing. Today I'm going to do a continuous contour portrait of the late John Prine. So that's a bit like an Etch-a-Sketch drawing. Once my pen goes down, I can't lift it up until I'm all finished. Hope you enjoy watching. So with continuous contour drawings, you can trace over the same spot as many times as you want, but you can't lift your pen up. So it's all kind of trying to plan out how you're going to get where you're going. And you definitely kind of have to plan it ahead of time. And I chose John Prine because he is my favorite singer-songwriter, and he recently passed away. He's the first celebrity to pass away that I was actually genuinely upset by it, where it's not just an oh that's too bad, but this one hit me pretty hard. John Prine's always been kind of a friend that I never actually met. He always had all the answers for you, and there's a lot of wisdom in his songs that has certainly helped me get through a lot of life's challenges. John Prine actually started off as a mailman, and was always singing songs on his route and coming up with songs, and eventually he got discovered. There's actually Roger Ebert, I think, is the one that had seen him in a club and wrote an article about how great he was. And then he kind of took off from there. So if you're someone at home that likes to draw, or wishes you could draw, but you're a little hesitant to draw because you think you're not good enough or something, continuous contours are a really great method to practice. They teach your hand to do what your eye is seeing, for one thing, but they also are great to help you figure out proportion. And the best thing, I think, for people that are starting off and practicing with continuous contour is if it comes out bad, you have the excuse that you did it all in one line. So that's an added bonus. If somebody looks at it and says, what am I looking at? You can say, I did that in one line. And then they might go from giving you a hard time to being impressed by it. you're not familiar with John Prine, I cannot recommend him highly enough. He's got some really funny songs, some very heartfelt songs. He kind of does it all. But his music always has a touch of humor to it, which is nice. And with continuous contour, because you can go back and retrace certain areas, you can always start things to indicate where they will be and come back to them. So this is going to be his acoustic guitar. Continuous contours are certainly a challenge, but I think if you are somebody that's got a relatively visual mind, if you can picture things well, then you've got a good chance at succeeding at doing this. Knowing how to get where you need to be to do the next part. It's a little more complicated than a regular drawing, but it's also it kind of frees you up to explore the best way to do it and make some mistakes and live with those mistakes and figure out how to keep going. So that thumb is a little bit wonky, which is partially because of the angle that I was coming into it from, up by the sound hole there. So that was, I probably should have retraced my way around to come in from another angle, but I figured I would take a shortcut. This is where my dad would say there's no shortcuts in life. John Prine liked to play C.F. Martin guitars, and I went on a tour of the C.F. Martin factory a few years back in Pennsylvania. It's a really cool place if you ever get the chance to go. Not Pennsylvania necessarily, but the C.F. Martin factory. And apparently John Prine had just been there a couple days before, so I narrowly missed him. That was a bummer. But apparently the Martin Guitar Factory frequently has big deal musicians coming in to pick up their new guitars or get a tour, or sometimes they borrow special old guitars from the Martin company. once I started playing guitar, I realized that if you're drawing somebody playing guitar, you better get their fingers right, because someone that plays is going to know what chord they're playing. And if you put their fingers on the wrong frets, they are no longer playing that chord. So one thing that's definitely off on this drawing is the foreshortening of the guitar. It's a little bit wonky for what I would have liked. But there's no take-backs when you're doing a continuous contour. You can't really, depending on what you're drawing, you might be able to fudge it a little bit, but it's actually one of the things that I really like with continuous contour is you have to commit to what you're doing, and you have to accept whatever happens. But it's a great lesson for how to improve in drawing, I think, because you have to, everybody's going to make mistakes, and you just have to figure out how you're going to work with those mistakes. One thing that I've learned over the years is not to point out mistakes, which obviously I just pointed out to you guys what's wrong with this, but if I'm showing work to someone that's buying something, the last thing I want to do is point out the mistake that I know is there, because there's a good chance they won't see it. But if I point it out, that's all they're going to see. So whatever mistakes you make, just don't point them out to your friends and they'll never know. That lesson took me quite a few years to pick up on that, but if you're a perfectionist, you know exactly what I mean. You kind of zero in on your mistakes, but most people won't notice them. But going back to the confidence thing, continuous contour drawings definitely will improve your confidence in your drawing. Not necessarily, when you finish your first continuous contour drawing, you're not going to look at it and go, wow, I really know what I'm doing now. But the confidence that you build up in knowing that what you're going to do with your pen or pencil or paintbrush or whatever is what you want to do with it, that really pays dividends once you've been doing it a little while. It carries over to all other aspects of your drawing, and even some aspects of life, I would say, that you develop the confidence to know that you can work through whatever mistakes you end up making. You can also set up a tripod or something at home and record your continuous contour as a time lapse. I have found that people love watching time lapses of things being made. I guess it's very relaxing for a lot of people, so works for me. It's relaxing for me to be drawing, so I like that other people are relaxed watching it. And I'm filling in a lot of this. I'm doing the shading on here. This is an area that I will admit right now, this is very risky that I'm deciding to shade this in. Continuous contours are usually best left as line drawings. So there's a very real chance that I should have stopped a few minutes ago, and we'll find out shortly whether I made the right choice or the wrong choice. But again, the beauty of a continuous contour is you've got to live with whatever choices you make and figure it out as you go. So now I'm fully committed to shading this. And again, if you're not familiar with John Prine, go check him out. As soon as you're done watching this, look him up on Spotify or YouTube or wherever. I don't know that I could name a favorite John Prine song, but Souvenirs would certainly be up there. Boundless Love is up there. He's got some really incredible songs, and he wrote a ton of songs as well that, I mean, if you don't love the first one that you listen to a few more and you're gonna find one that you really love. What I've found with my friends is they've either never heard of John Prine or they absolutely love him. I don't think I know anybody that dislikes John Prine. This particular photo that I'm using as a reference would have been around I think it probably was from the Bruised Orange album photo session. certainly that era based on his overall look. I was lucky enough to see John Prine in concert last April in 2019, and it was phenomenal. I was sitting way up in the nosebleeds in the balcony, and it was still, I mean, just an incredible concert experience. And then the last thing when you're finishing up a continuous contour is to go ahead and sign your name. The fun thing is, once you get good at continuous contours, you'll find that your Etch-a-Sketch abilities go way up because you're just applying the same exact techniques. And if you are moving relatively slowly on an Etch-a-Sketch, it all makes sense if you know how to do a continuous contour. So practice some continuous contours and then try your hand at an Etch-a-Sketch again and you'll be amazed. All right, so here is our finished John Prine continuous contour. All done in one line. And if you want to try something even more challenging than a continuous contour at home, you can try a blind continuous contour. If you're really into drawing, that's where you're looking at your source material, but you don't look at your drawing as you do it. I had pointed out during the drawing that you're going to make mistakes with a continuous contour, and that's, to me, that's part of the beauty of it. You just have to own it and do the drawing the best that you can, and then at the end you go back and you say, okay, next time I would have done this, this, and this differently. And I also mentioned in it not to point out your mistakes to people. However, I'm going to point out some of my mistakes to you as a helpful tool for any of you at home that might want to do one of these so that you know the types of things to look for. Overall, I'm pretty happy with the proportions of it. I did mean to go back into his face at the end to do a little bit more detail work and shading. As you're working on a continuous contour, you kind of have to have like a checklist in your head of what you want to circle back to. And I totally forgot to head back to his face. Also, the guitar, you can kind of see the neck of the guitar isn't centered top to bottom. His hand came out a little wonky. I know I pointed that out during it. But again, that's part of the fun of doing a continuous contour. You just roll with it and see where you end up. And sometimes you're thrilled with the way it comes out, and other times you're gonna crumple it up and throw it away. That's life. You just keep going with it and make the most of it. I would like to thank the folks at Medfield TV for having me in to be a part of this Mental Health Monday project, and I hope you enjoyed watching at home.